Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you are all doing good. I really hope 2020 is going okay for all of you. Tonight we're going to be talking about a few interesting things, some news in the realm of DC, updates on the Epic versus Apple situation, but I also want to discuss an update on the Leafy situation. These are all things that I've made videos on. But there are some interesting updates that I feel are very important to talk about. I want to start with talking about DC's FanDome event. I want to talk about some of the announcements, some of the news that happened, because a lot of it I am pretty excited about. I think that the event went relatively well, and yeah, I really just wanted to kind of do a breakdown of the DC FanDome event. It's FanDome, I think, but I'm just going to call it the FanDome event because that's what we've all been calling it for quite some time now. Like I had mentioned, we are going to be talking about Epic versus Apple and Microsoft actually stepping in to back Epic Games, saying Apple is threatening game development, and I agree with that. I think that Microsoft's statement here is pretty damn good. And we're also going to talk about Leafy's ban and how it is apparently permanent, yet YouTube really hasn't made any comments on it. YouTube has been very quiet. And I really wanted to talk about those updates because I did previously make a video about Leafy's initial ban and kind of not knowing any information, but we have a little bit more information now. Unfortunately, when it comes to Leafy, we really haven't heard a lot. We've heard contradicting points. We've heard Leafy say things. We've heard like one short statement from YouTube given to The Verge, but those are the topics on the list for tonight. But before we get into the topics, of course, I want to say hello. I hope that you are all doing well. I hope 2020 is treating you all well. We are almost done another month, and then we're 1 month closer to the year being over. I think we can all huzzah to that. It sounds like Vera will be streaming Amazon's New World MMO, and I may be on the same server. Yes, I actually wanted to talk about that for a moment and mention that. So today, Amazon's MMO New World actually, I wasn't expecting this. They had only announced this like 2 days ago. They had actually put up a, what did they call it? Like a, it's kind of like a beta test, basically. They're putting up a server for a week where people can go into the game and they can test it. It's like beta testing in a way. They're not calling it beta testing, but it's basically beta testing, and they are allowing people into the servers. If you've pre-ordered the game already, you have access to the public server. Basically to test the game, to see what it's about. They mainly wanted feedback when it comes to this test. It's going to be like a week long, and tomorrow I am going to be streaming it. I'm not necessarily sure what time yet. I may start a little bit earlier than I usually do when it comes to live streams. I will update you all at the end of the live stream or on Discord, of course, and Twitter tomorrow. But tomorrow, Wednesday, I will definitely be streaming New World. I want to give it a couple of hours. I really want to give my first thoughts and opinions on it because, as some of you know, and if you do not, I'm a huge MMO player. I love playing brand new MMOs. And I'm always looking for the next best MMO to play. And I have a lot of hope in this game, which a lot of people surprisingly don't. I'm not really sure why. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are extremely excited for it, but I think people are a little bit worried because it is Amazon. MMOs, the market is very hard to nail, especially when it comes to things like monetization. The game has been held back. Now, it was supposed to actually release this month, like the full release, but unfortunately, because of COVID and because of development issues, they did decide to hold it off until, I think they said Q1 2021, or they might have just said early 2021. Either way, like the first half of 2021, the game should be fully releasing, hopefully. So that's exciting. I'm really excited for that. I hope that it all turns out well, and I hope that the game is good. I have not played any of it yet myself. I have been holding back until tomorrow night's live stream, but I will be live streaming it tomorrow. So that's the plan. MMO, I know. The sacred genre that I feel like hasn't gotten a lot of love. Unfortunately, when it comes to MMOs, they're very easy to poorly monetize, And unfortunately, most companies do poorly monetize them, which is a shame. I'm a huge fan of MMOs, as I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Better late than awful and unfinished. I 100% agree. I am okay with them taking time to fix the game, because I would rather the game come out and be good and be a couple of months late than have them rush it and make it shit. Because unfortunately that happens with so many games. Games come out, we're so excited for them, and they're bad because they've rushed them. I said the same thing for Cyberpunk 2077. For some reason, I keep wanting to call it Cyberpunk 3077. I'm not sure why. But same with Cyberpunk 2077. They've held it off twice now, and I'm honestly a little proud of them for doing that, because a lot of the times companies feel this big, massive push and rush to just release content, and they're not feeling that way. So props to them. But yeah, Amazon New World MMO, tomorrow, live stream. That's the plan. If any of you are planning on playing it, please make sure to join the Discord and let me know so we can all go onto the same server. The characters will be wiped when the game fully releases, but it's going to be up for a week. We can get into some trouble for a week or so. Better than nothing. That happened to Fallout 76. F's in chat for Fallout 76. I can't believe how they massacred that game. Alright, you guys, so we are going to start off with the first topic. Hopefully the music's not too loud. I just turned it down a tiny bit. Hopefully it should be good. It's extremely loud for me, but it might be perfectly fine for all of you. I also need to really quickly fix something in the description, because for some reason the donation link is not there, and it should probably be there. Probably. Alright, donation link is back in the description. I don't know why it wasn't, but alas, now it is. Yeah, F's in chat for Fallout 76. How the fuck did they screw that up so badly? Also, give me 1 second. I want to grab a link for something really quickly. If you all are not aware already, Dark Titan Enterprises has a sister channel named Dark Titan Gaming, and we upload a lot of retro content there, and also Magic the Gathering tabletop content. And yesterday, one of the people in chat, Mr. Undying MTG, uploaded a video about Magic the Gathering and finances, and and some budget cards that you need. I love the name of that. You need it, guys. You need it. So make sure to go and check that out. I will put the link in chat if you are not already aware of the channel. But yeah, soon I have some fun retro content coming. Maybe some of my collection. But I just posted the video, so go and check that out if you have not already. Alright, let us start with the first topic of the night. So I have not talked at all about DC's FanDome event, FanDome, I'm just going to call it the FanDome event, where they had announced quite a lot of content, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Now, I just want to say that I know that there has been a lot of negative press around DC in regards to them firing a ton of employees, and I feel like some of the firings were more positive and some aren't, unfortunately, and I don't think any excitement out of the FanDome event should let us forget about any of those extremely important issues. But these are characters that they're creating shows and comic books around, and just a lot of things that we grew up with and love. So I really think that we should try and look at a lot of the things that we saw in this event with a positive light, because there is just a lot of positives about the future of DC. Do we absolutely know that there isn't going to be anything political or have any social messages rammed into these things? We don't, let's be honest. They could all be trash at the end of the day. But let's just hope that there isn't any of that stuff, and let's stay a little bit positive and take a look at the announcements, because a lot of this actually left me, and I know a lot of other people, excited as well. So this is a Complex.com article, what we learned from DC's FanDome announcements. It was pretty good. I watched it. I liked a lot of what they were showing us. Honestly, DC, did something slightly good with this event. So let me zoom this in because this is tiny as heck. You think that I can see that shit? Do you really think that I can see that? Without a traditional San Diego Comic-Con this year, canceled because of you-know-what, to showcase a bunch of new projects, Warner Bros. And DC decided to take matters into their own hands and set up a brand new virtual event for fans. Called the DC FanDome, get it, FanDome, the live experience featured a series of Zoom panels with the cast and creative talent behind the scenes of anticipated movies, like the Batman, Wonder Woman 1984, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League, and more. We all know a lot of companies are doing this right now because they are trying to market their products, because unfortunately, a lot of things like Comic-Cons and just a lot of big industry events when it comes to gaming and entertainment are canceled because of COVID-19. So a lot of companies are trying to do their own virtual events and really get their products on the radar, get people excited, and this is one of the best ways to. I mean, social media is always a great way to market your products, but of course, Warner Brothers and DC decided to do their own for a lot of their upcoming projects, which unfortunately a lot of the things that they showed are not done, are not complete, and are future projects that are still years away, but it definitely left me as a DC fan excited. FanDome successfully translated what it's like to sit through panels at Comic-Con while also packing the day's events full of new announcements, trailers, and footage for DC's entire cinematic slate from now well into 2022. 2022, great. I almost called it 2222. We're definitely not that far into the future yet. For the first time since the end of Justice League, the future of the DCEU is starting to come into focus, and it's an exciting time full of promise. A lot of the info and teases were given out, so instead of sifting through it all across different articles, we're here to break down all of the highlights in one place and contextualize a few things along the way. Now let's dive into it. Whew, DC FanDome. Did any of you watch it? I'm curious. Alright, so the first one on the list is Wonder Woman 1984. The article reads, I really think the movie is so great on the big screen, we're going to stick it out and we believe in putting it in the cinema. That's how Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins started the virtual panel for the COVID-19 delayed sequel. Much like Warner Brothers has a continued commitment to ensuring Tenet makes a theatrical window, so too will Wonder Woman 1984. While the complete cast, Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig, were also in virtual attendance, viewers saw special cameos from Venus Williams and the OG Wonder Woman herself, Linda Carter. I think that we were all expecting them to bring, like, Linda Carter in. I mean, it is a virtual meetup. She was only on the screen for, like, 5 minutes. I think that we all kind of expected that she would make some sort of appearance, which is great. I really like Linda Carter. She's an amazing woman. And it was really cool to see the cast of Wonder Woman 1984 on the screen. I really love Gal Gadot. I think that she is a damn good actress. She's also pretty fine. I really like... Oh no, this is gonna rhyme. I really like Chris Pine as well. He's a really good actor. I really like their cast for this movie, and it was cool to see them kind of chat for a few minutes. Obviously, when they're on set, I'm sure that they're chatting away, but it was cool to see them kind of interact, even if it was virtual. While there's no new date for the release of 1984, there was a new trailer which officially debuted Kristen Wiig's cheetah look. I'm honestly not a big fan of the cheetah look. I don't know. I mean, it's probably the best that they could do, to be honest. It probably is. I'm not a huge fan of characters or people that turn into, like, animals. Like, the Cats musical. Can't do it. Not for me. She looked okay. I mean, she didn't look terrible and like, oh, this movie looks bad. I'm just really not into, people gluing fur onto a person and calling it a comic book character. It kind of looked okay, though. I obviously don't want to preemptively judge it until we actually see her in action, but Who knows? The film's plot seems to focus on an offer from Pascal's Maxwell Lord to the public, stating that anything people want or anything they can dream of, they can have. And the sudden and mysterious reappearance of Chris Pine's long-departed Steve Trevor, combined with this menacing statement from Lord, hints that the power suit-clad villain may be responsible for bringing back Diana's lover. I mean, of course, I think that we all can put two and two together here. Obviously, he's saying whatever you want you can have, and suddenly he's back. I think we can all put that together. Meanwhile, Kristen Wiig's Barbara Ann Minerva and Diana's dynamic hinges around a perceived wrong. You've always had everything while people like me have nothing, Minerva states. This pits the two against one another while Maxwell pulls strings as the master puppeteer. Minerva fully embraces her apex predator status towards the end of the trailer with some special effects work that puts Cats to absolute shame. It did. It looked good. It wasn't as bad as Cats. I'm not trying to say that. It just looks a little silly. Oh, and in the same way we had Steve be able to guide for a fish-out-of-water Diana in the first movie, the roles will be reversed in 1984. The trailer ends with Steve getting his own fashion montage in the same way Diana had hers in the first movie, and Steve seems to adapt well enough as the sporty Nike Cortez that briefly appear look great on Chris Pine. I don't know why I couldn't read that final sentence, but that's okay. I think that the trailers that we saw for 1984 looked pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of kind of Maxwell Lord, this villain. There's actually been people saying, like, a lot of things about capitalism and about how he's based around, like, capitalists and all of these things. Capitalism bad, basically. People have also been kind of comparing the character to Trump a little bit, but Maxwell Lord isn't a new character. It's not like he's anything new. Obviously, they're going to change the character around a little bit for the new movie, but I don't want to preemptively judge because we don't know the whole story. I haven't seen the movie. The movie might be perfectly fine, but Wonder Woman 1984 looks pretty good. I think Gal Gadot is an amazing Wonder Woman, and yeah, I think it looks okay. I'm hoping that soon they will release the movie. We don't have a release date currently, but I really hope that we get the release date soon. I really just want to watch it at this point. We've heard about it for years. We're going to be seeing the Snyder Cut, which will have her in it as well, which we will be talking about a little bit more into the live stream, which I'm excited for, definitely. Looks okay. I don't want to judge it before I see it, though. Next is The Flash. This was probably one of the largest shocks out of this whole event. Just look at this image for just a moment. You probably can't see it fully, but do you see that, Batman? Do you see that damn Batman? It turns out it's rather fitting. DC originally wanted Phil Lord and Chris Miller involved with The Flash. The Ezra Miller starring, directed standalone feature for the Scarlet Speedster looks more and more like it's going to be inspired by the duo's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but with Batman instead. A loose adaptation of the popular Flashpoint storyline, the movie will explore Barry's backstory and introduce the concept of the DC multiverse to general audiences. The Flashpoint comic hinges around Barry Allen traveling back in time to save his mother from being killed. In doing so, he sets off a chain reaction and fundamentally alters the timeline in the process. Bruce Wayne's father is Batman, Wonder Woman and Aquaman are fighting to control the world, and Superman spends his days as a lab rat, to name a few. In this version, Barry will still time travel to save his mother, but somehow intersect with a few different versions of Batman along the way. We knew Michael Keaton would reprise his role, but earlier this week it was also announced that Ben Affleck's version of Bruce Wayne would appear. While The Flash has yet to start filming, they showed the concept art of Barry's new, more organic suit built by Keaton's Batman. On the other pieces of concept art showed the two together in the Batcave as they fought unknown assailants, with Keaton in the iconic 1989 Batsuit. I mean, this is how you get people excited for a new movie. I'm actually pretty disappointed to hear that they still haven't even started filming this movie. This movie has been in development for years at this point. They've been having a lot of problems with it. But to hear that they are having Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton both as Batmans in this is fucking amazing. This is how you get people excited. I'm personally a really big fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought that he did a really good job. I was a really big fan, and I'm really disappointed that they're kind of putting less of an emphasis on him now. With the Justice League, he's getting more of an emphasis, and also in The Flash, but I'm a big fan of him. And Michael Keaton, 1989 Batman. I mean, if you're a fan of Batman, you probably have seen and enjoyed the 1989 Batman. So to hear that both of these characters are going to be in this is really cool, and I'm really interested in what they're going to do with the Flashpoint story. I was really into the Flashpoint series when it was going on, and I've read it, and it's really good. There obviously is going to be changes when it comes to the movie because it's someone else's vision. They're going to loosely adapt off of that story, but I think the basis for the story is really good. The article continues, though the multiverse and by extension The Flash will allow DC to really have their cake and eat it too, bringing together all of these different versions of iconic comic book characters into one unified front. It's an ambitious task and will be interesting to see how The Flash pulls everything together. I agree with this. They could really mess this up. This movie, if it's too short and there's so many different things going on, it could get really mucky, really murky, and really bad fast. This has to be a really long, drawn-out, very slow-paced movie with action at the end, and I think that it could be really good. It's going to be interesting to see how big of a role these characters are going to have, like Keaton's Batman. We don't know. It could literally just be a 10-minute appearance. He could have a larger role. Same with Ben Affleck. I'm sure Ben Affleck's Batman will have a bit longer of a role, though. But we don't know anything about it, unfortunately, really, because they haven't started filming it yet. We got no trailer, but we did get the concept art, which looks really good. The next one is The Suicide Squad. This was a warm and wonderful set. The quote from actor Peter Capaldi was earnest, sure, but I can't help but think of it as a direct contrast and resetting of expectations around The Suicide Squad. The sequel is helmed by the Guardians of the Galaxy director/writer James Gunn in what was initially a bit of a coup for DC as he was dismissed from Marvel over some bad tweets. Bad tweets are bad, you guys. Bad tweets from many years ago. Very bad. Who could have imagined that, of course, we just have to bring up old tweets. While Gunn eventually found his way back into the director's chair for the third Guardians movie, he made a pit stop to revamp DC's a ragtag group of villains entirely. If Capaldi's notes isn't just lip service, he seemingly brought a nice bit of camaraderie to the set too, something that was perhaps missing on the shenanigans-filled set of David Ayer's original movie. The Suicide Squad movie that came out a couple of years ago was okay. I didn't think that it was the best movie I've ever seen, by far. I do think that it was okay, though. I thought that they were going to do more movies with those characters and have it be the Suicide Squad, but they really didn't. I mean, we got, like, Birds of Prey, which had Harley Quinn, I guess. So disappointing to say. But The Suicide Squad is different from Suicide Squad, which came out a couple of years ago. While Gunn is still working on editing the film, he revealed who each of his star-studded cast would be playing. Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Viola Davis will return as Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag, Amanda Waller, respectively. We have Idris Elba as Bloodsport in this, Pete Davidson as Blackguard, John Cena as Peacemaker, Nathan Fillion as TDK, Michael Rooker as Savant, Peter Capaldi as The Thinker. This list truly goes on and on. It's literally like they got every acting, figure in Hollywood to be in this. I mean, The Rock isn't here, so I guess that's really all that they're missing. But they have a very star-studded cast for this. They did do the short roll call kind of like teaser, I guess you could say. There was no this, what I'm showing right now, wasn't a trailer, but it was kind of like the roll call of the characters, who everyone was, in some animations, which was really cool to add. The article continues, though, with, there are many deep-cut DC characters here. I sincerely cannot believe we're getting Polka Dot Man and the Thinker in a major blockbuster, for example. While that's exciting for diehard comic book fans, the inherent danger of the missions the squad undertakes mean that not everyone is bound to make it out alive. It will be interesting to see who they kill and who they keep. It is fitting as gritty war movies of the 1970s inspired Gunn's take on the sequel. You can see more in this behind-the-scenes video feature that was also released, but the film's August 2021 release is still on track. They are hoping to release it at this time next year. It could also change, but he is apparently editing it. It's fully filmed, so I am actually pretty excited for this. I really like James Gunn. I really like his directing style. I like a lot of the work that he has done, and I don't mind a lot of the cast. I still think that Margot Robbie is a really good Harley Quinn. Obviously, something like Birds of Prey did her no fucking justice, but I do think that this could be what kind of makes her image in DC. I think that this could really help her to possibly get her character in more movies. Also, like Pete Davidson, Idris Elba, Nathan Fillion, Michael Rooker, John Cena. This is going to be good. Even if the whole story is really bad, we just know that the interactions between these characters are going to be phenomenal, and that is why I am extremely excited about the Suicide Squad. That's all that we know, though. We saw the roll call, which is pretty cool. It was interesting to kind of see them in their outfits, see their logos, see the characters, and get that visual effect from what they have to offer. The next one is Static Shock and Milestone Comics. This one's pretty short. As part of a surprise panel, DC unveiled the return of Milestone Comics, founded in 1993 by a coalition of black writers and artists, including the legendary Dwayne McDuffie. Milestone focused specifically on addressing racial minorities' underrepresentation in superhero comic books. It wasn't officially a part of the DC universe, even though the company distributed the comics themselves. The most famous of Milestone characters was Static Shock, who was created by McDuffie and started an animated series for 4 years. Not only will Virgil Hawkins return in a Static Shock digital comic in February 2021 and as a graphic novel, but there's a serious conversation at Warner Brothers about developing Static as a theatrical feature film. That's all that we know. I'm not very versed with this character. I don't know much about this character, unfortunately. I will definitely be looking into this character, though. I'm interested. I'm not going to just say no. I think that this sounds okay. I have to research the character a little bit more. But what's interesting here is that not only will Virgil Hawkins return in a Static Shock digital comic, they are not even making a physical comic of this, it sounds. It is going to be just digital, which I don't know if they're doing that because they know a lot of people don't really know the character too well, or if this is, of course, another move to put every character into comics and just make the comics digital. We don't know, but I really thought that that was interesting that they specified that it was going to be a digital comic. That's all that we know, though. Just a little bit of news about Static Shock and Milestone Comics. Very interested to see what they'll do with that. This could be terrible. But let's be honest, anything that is announced in this event, any of these movies, any of these series, could be bad. They could be awful. But like I said at the beginning, let's please have a little bit of hope, a little bit of positivity, because that's ultimately what I want. It's a little bit of positivity. I see a lot of people in the chat being like, okay. Yeah. Okay. Also, there's an ad on the sidebar for the New Mutants. It's in theaters Friday. Is it coming out digitally as well on Friday? Or are they waiting a couple of weeks? I should look that up. The next topic, though, which is probably one of the most important coming out of the DC FanDome event, is the Snyder Cut. I've talked a lot about the Snyder Cut in the past. I am someone who is very excited for the Snyder Cut, as a lot of DC fans are. I personally wasn't a hater of the original Justice League. I didn't mind it. I know a lot of people hate it. I was someone that thought it was pretty decent. I've watched it a couple of times now. While it's not the best DC movie, it's definitely not the worst, in my opinion, but I am someone who has stood by the Snyder Cut since day freaking one. So, the article starts with, I still really cannot believe this movie is even happening, but it is. And so director/writer Zack Snyder took the virtual stage at FanDome to talk about his version of the Justice League. Snyder confirmed that Cyborg will be the heart of the movie and we will see his storyline fleshed out considerably from the version that Joss Whedon finished. I like the idea of this. I felt like the Cyborg story in the original Justice League was pretty lame. They really didn't flesh it out a lot. So to hear that he is kind of the heart of this movie is interesting to me. I'm not opposed to that. I'm excited to see what they will have to offer. The director also hinted, as the article continues, at a particular sequence involving some unknown bits of the Flash's powers and an increased role in the movie's plot. Additionally, Snyder revealed that the movie would drop in 4 1-hour installments, which an eventual theatrical type cut to come later. That is what is really confusing to me. They're going to be releasing the movie in 4 1-hour installments, and eventually they would kind of mash it all together in a theatrical type release. But why do that? Like, I am happy with having a movie that is 4 hours long, just release it that way. If people want to pause it, I'm sure that they can find an adequate place to pause it. The whole 4 1-hour installments is kind of iffy to me. They also didn't say if they would all be releasing at the same time, and I have a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling that they are going to release the Snyder Cut, and they specified the 4 1-hour installments, and they will be released separately. That will get one and maybe another of the parts a week later or 2 weeks later. We don't know. It's just a guess, but it is a very popular guess at this point. That is making me a little bit worried, but the article continues. The trailer included below is set to Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah and features previously unseen footage, including Darkseid, DC's version of Thanos, basically, the Flash, Paramore, Iris West, and the Hall of Justice, and more. The trailer ends with Ben Affleck's Batman saying while Darkseid has faced all kinds of enemies, he hasn't met the Justice League United. I thought that the trailer was pretty good. We did see a couple of scenes that were reused from the Justice League, which we all have to admit that this isn't a brand new movie. There are going to be scenes in this movie that are in the original Justice League movie that had released, but I'm excited for this. I'm not going to show the trailer because unfortunately they have been kind of striking down people showing the trailer. I will put the link to this article in the chat in case you want to see it and in case you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure if you're excited for the Justice League, you've most likely seen the trailer at this point. The trailer looks really solid, looks really good. I'm extremely excited to see what they will have to offer. I've been a supporter of Zack Snyder since the beginning, though, because unfortunately his daughter, did unfortunately pass away when he was editing the Justice League the first time around, so he could not finish his vision, and I think that it is only fair that he is given a chance to finish his vision. So congratulations again to him for getting the chance to do this. HBO Max picked it up, and we can only go from here, but it looks good. It looks hot. The next one is Black Adam, very short. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. This is the one that's going to change everything. It is wild it's taken this long for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to attach himself to a superhero-related project, but Black Adam is the one he's had his eye on for quite some time now. Black Adam will focus on the origin of Adam, who lived in the fictional world. I can't say it. I can never say this. I can never say it, so it's just a fictional world. My pronunciations are terrible with that word. This nation prospered under slave labor of people like Teth until he revolted and took control of the same power eventually granted to Shazam. Reborn as Black Adam, Teth served as the judge, jury, and executioner, liberating his people along the way, but not before he was locked away. Black Adam is inherently an anti-hero, which will be interesting and atypical role for Johnson. Additionally, Black Adam will also feature characters from the Justice Society, including Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Noah Centinneo's Atom Smasher, and it is set to release December 22nd, 2021. A lot of people think that that is just kind of a placeholder date, but I think that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been looking forward to playing Black Adam for a while. He has hinted for like 2 years at this point that he wanted to play Black Adam and that he possibly was going to play Black Adam, and now we know it's confirmed. I think that this is a really cool role for him. It's very different from what he usually does. It's going to be a very unique role. Obviously, Black Adam isn't a traditional let's save the world hero. He is, as it says, inherently an anti-hero, and I do really like movies like that, so I'm excited. Hopefully it turns out good. We didn't see much besides concept art, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we are still at least a year away from seeing this movie. Hopefully soon we will see a trailer for this, because this, honestly, besides the Snyder Cut, is actually probably the one I'm most excited for. I don't know why, but seeing like the teaser images and just knowing how passionate The Rock is about roles he plays, I truly think that this is going to be very good. He is an extremely passionate actor, and to see him step out of his normal bubble of what he usually plays and the roles he usually plays, I think that this could potentially be extremely, extremely good. But you know, obviously, he is the villain in Shazam, as the article says. Where does it say it? He took control of the same power eventually granted to Shazam. The article calls him like inherently an anti-hero. He is a villain, so I don't know if this is a little bit confusing. Sorry if I didn't explain that properly. The article says that he's inherently an anti-hero, but he was a villain. So are they changing him? Are they going to alter his story a little bit? We don't know. That's the thing, is that this is so early in the concept still. There wasn't even a trailer, so who really knows the direction that they're going in? He was a villain. This article says he is inherently an anti-hero. Anyway, these are still roles that he usually doesn't play. And I think that it could be good. Sorry if I got a little bit confusing there. Sorry about that. All right. So, I am very excited for Black Adam, though. I hope that it turns out good. And there's 3 more to go. I mean, one of them, unfortunately, is super short. Protagonist does not equal hero. I think the writer confuses this. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Rez. That's a good way to put it. Yes, he is the villain. He is the villain. But we don't know what direction they're going in with this movie. I would assume that they're still going to put him in the more villain role, but we know that they usually don't make a lot of movies based around just like a villain. Like, he's always got to have some saving grace or some saving factor, but I hope that it's still good. The next one is pretty short. It just says Aquaman sequel. Since the Aquaman sequel won't arrive until December 2022, it's still a little bit too early to provide a lot of information on the Jason Momoa-led franchise. Instead, director James Wan and actor Patrick Wilson chatted about their shared work experience across 5 films, and how their relationship grew on the set of Aquaman. However, he revealed the second installment would be a little bit more serious than its predecessor. I don't like that word, serious. It's a little bit more serious, because I do like more serious films and more serious characters. We are, at the end of the day, talking about comic book characters, and I don't want them to forget that. Part of the first movie's charm is how it avoided the door tones much of the DCEU had set up to that point. So this news is a little disheartening to hear, and hopefully the movie won't shift gears completely. He also hinted that Patrick Wilson's Ocean Master character will be part of the sequel despite his defeat at the end of the first film. Oh, Aquaman. Oh, Amber Heard who? They haven't filmed the Aquaman sequel yet. We still do not know a lot about it. There's been a lot of rumors circulating that I have talked about over the past couple of months about Amber Heard continuing to play her role as Mara in the sequel, and there's also been rumors that she will not be continuing her role and that she will be fired. Right now, it seems like it is leaning on the side of she will be in Aquaman's sequel. I mean, obviously, she's going to be in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, just because that's already filmed. She was already an established character in that. But going forward, who knows if she will have a role in this. I like Aquaman. I like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I thought he did a pretty decent job. Aquaman had its moments that weren't really good. But it would be interesting to see Patrick Wilson return as Ocean Master. I'm a big fan of Patrick Wilson's acting. I think that he's a really good actor. The next small quip is about Shazam. Really nothing about Shazam, unfortunately. Much like Aquaman, the forthcoming Shazam sequel won't arrive for another few years, so the only real news from the panel was that the upcoming second film would be titled Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It's unclear whether Zachary Levi's Shazam and Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam will go head-to-head, but we can only hope we'll get to see the matchup sooner rather than later. I do think that that is what they will do. They will do the Shazam versus Black Adam. I mean, that is what I think a lot of us could assume in this case, just because the two characters have obviously so much history. Fury of the Gods sounds so cool. I did like Shazam, and I know a lot of other people did too. It was an okay movie. It definitely had its really good moments, though. Fortunately, Aquaman, we don't know a lot. Shazam, we don't know a lot. It's just kind of like they were cramming as many things in as they could, so they're like, oh, hey, like, give them the title. That'll make them happy, right? I would like a little bit more than a title, but beggars can't be choosers, everyone. And the last section of this is The Batman. I think we all are collectively very excited for The Batman, which unfortunately is only like 30% filmed right now. What a wonder a well-cut trailer can do to change the public perspective. Wow. Words. Initial buzz around the first trailer for the Matt Reeves written and directed, Robert Pattinson starring Batman reboot appeared to be extremely strong, if my timeline was any indication. While Batman is often known as the world's greatest detective, other cinematic versions haven't fully explored this element until now. The Batman will see Pattinson's Bruce Wayne take on a mystery haunting Gotham courtesy of Paul Dano's The Riddler. I am so happy with the villains that we're seeing in this. Riddler? Yes. Reeves revealed the movie's tone draws its influence from noir films like Chinatown, Taxi Driver, and The French Connection, with a real-world grounding to make it seem as if it could all really happen. The trailer itself compromises about 25% of the final film, as corona-related complications shut down production earlier this year. Reeves also stated this story is essentially a year 2 version of the character. We're moving past the tired origin story of Batman into a world wherein everyone, including the villains, is still coming into identities we know and love. We see brief glimpses of Zoe Kravitz in a burglar wearing ski mask with a touch of cat ears. She's obviously, I bet you can guess the character, a ski mask and cat ears? Wow. Who? Meanwhile, there is an otherwise unrecognizable Colin Farrell as the Penguin, although Reeves stated he didn't like being called by that name. And Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon gets a fair amount of screen time in the first part of the trailer, while Andy Serkis's Alfred is heard in a voiceover. The Riddler's menacing riddles seem to indicate there's more than There's more to Batman and Gotham's past than perhaps even Bruce knows. However, one thing's that abundantly clear to a group of Joker-inspired goons is this. While he might not be wholly Batman in name, this version of the infamous character is undoubtedly full of rage, and it is supposed to release in October of 2021, October 1st, 2021, due to Corona. Who knows if they will actually hit that date, but I'm extremely excited for the Batman. I have a very mixed relationship with Robert Pattinson because I think that he has played some really good roles. I'm excited to see him in Tenet. He played the Lighthouse extremely well. Obviously, he's got his past with being Sparkly Boy, Edward in Twilight. Wow, I couldn't even remember the franchise. I just thought of Sparkly Boy. I think that he has really matured since like those days. But I really have hope that he can pull it off. I really do. I like the design of the bat suit. Like it says, the movie's only like 30% filmed right now, so they didn't have a lot to go off of when it came to footage, but I feel like the trailer they put together was really well done. I feel like the trailer was a trailer. It didn't just feel like a bunch of scenes being kind of mashed together. I feel like it did kind of point you in the direction of what the story was going to be. It's going to be a very dark and dreary movie, but I am so excited to hear that they've got, like, the Riddler, and they've also got, who else do they have? They've got the Riddler, they've got Penguin, which we didn't even know that he was the Penguin until it was confirmed, which makes me excited to see what kind of Penguin he's going to be. Of course, we have Commissioner Gordon, we have Alfred. I'm hopeful for this movie. We've still got a long time to go. We've still got a lot of footage to go until we can really get excited. But I think that what they offered was really good. I know a lot of people are saying that he seems like an emo Batman, and people on social media were complaining about how he had like makeup around his eyes, and they were saying like, oh, that's so emo. Do most of you realize that most of the Batmans put paint around their eyes? Like under the cowl? I feel like so many people are like, oh, he wears makeup. He's so emo, and they're like saying he's still kind of the Robert Pattinson from like the Twilight days. Most Batmans put like some sort of makeup or face paint around the eyes of their cowl. I don't know why people are complaining about that. I think that's just a little bit silly. But I think that it looks good. I'm gonna be honest. I'm more excited for the Riddler. I thought that the Gotham, the TV show, was amazing. I really loved that Riddler, and I am so excited to see Paul Dano as the Riddler. Very excited. But that's all that I really had to talk about with that. We've been on the DC fandom topic for quite a while. That's really kind of the wrap-up of the announcements that were made, but I also wanted to quickly go through the games. I didn't talk about the games at all. There were 2 new games announced. We saw a little bit of gameplay. We saw some cinematics. This is a Washington Post article. The exciting and worrying news of Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad. Very interesting 4 directions when it comes to video games, in my opinion. Very, very interesting. So, when Arkham Asylum dropped 11 years ago, it exceeded expectations of what a superhero game was, let alone Batman could be. It was a landmark release that became one of the century's most influential titles. The Arkham games, Arkham Asylum specifically, was amazing. I feel like most of us here have played it, most of us appreciate it. Great game. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Definitely. Now, Rocksteady Studios and Warner Bros. Games Montreal are each releasing games branching out from that design philosophy, and they both have to live up to the Arkham legacy they built together. With 2 exciting trailers from the DC fandom event last week, and the studios are signaling a further move away from the original trilogy. I think that it's fine that they're moving away from it. I know a lot of people are very upset, very angry. They were hoping for more games in the Arkham series. to be just you playing as Batman and all these characters, but I don't mind the fact that they're moving a little bit away from those original games. So the first one is Gotham Knights. The player variety and multiplayer focus has a lot of potential. The game features Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood as the 4 protagonists. One of the few exciting features of the last Batman game, Arkham Knight, was the dual play mechanic for its challenge rooms, which was locked away only to a solo player with an AI-controlled partner. But the Gotham Knights player shows that Warner Bros. Montreal has incorporated those dual attacks into cooperative online play. I do kind of like the characters that they chose here: Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood. I mean, these are all very important characters when it comes to Batman. And I think that the choices were good. Obviously, there's a little bit of disappointment that there's not just Batman, but I think that we can survive with these characters. It's not Rocksteady, the creators of the Arkham series, creating this. Warner Bros. Montreal is mostly known for the ill-fated Arkham Origins, which was released in a famously buggy state in 2013, 2 years after the hit Arkham City. It was also meant to be a placeholder title between City and Rocksteady's follow-up Arkham Knight. As inexcusable as its launch date was, Origins is underrated in the series. Warner Bros. Games Montreal expanded Batman's actions and enemy types to give the series its most robust hand-to-hand movement, rivaling that even of Arkham Knight, and yes, it did once again feature the Joker as the antagonist, but it was a charming and thematically strong first meeting of the two ill-fated star-crossed adversaries. The Canada-based studio also created the downloadable add-ons for Arkham Knight, which all released in a fine state, so it looks like they've honed in on their developing chops. The Gotham Knights trailer already showed Batgirl having some new moves, including the ability to run along and attack from walls, and new takedown abilities. I was a bit concerned that no countering was shown, which was the core combat mechanic upon which the Arkham series was built. I'm wondering if it's still in there or if it has been replaced by something else, but still Batgirl was able to hold up one goon and set him up for Robin's final devastating and thrilling flying kick. It says that Gotham Knights hasn't indicated any of this yet, but in the gameplay walkthrough, Warner Bros. Games Montreal said certain enemies will have new abilities depending on your level. That sounds really good. That sounds really interesting to me. New abilities depending on your level. My biggest hope is that Montreal takes some lessons from the mixed reaction to Marvel's Avengers beta, where critics felt underpowered as overpowered superheroes like the Incredible Hulk. Balance is not actually as important as a rewarding feeling of progression. I do agree with that. Definitely, but that's all that we really know about it. It is scheduled to release sometime in 2021. If you have not seen the trailer yet, definitely go and watch it. It looks good. But the next game was Suicide Squad. It is called Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Now, I know that they're coming out with the new Suicide Squad movie, but I feel like we're going to be getting a lot of Suicide Squad in the future. We have a game, we have the new movie, we had the previous movie. I don't know why they're leaning so heavily on these characters. Even less is known about Rocksteady's long-awaited follow-up game, since the DC FanDome news came with only a cinematic computer-generated trailer. It sounds like not a lot of this game is done right now, so they didn't have any gameplay to show, which is kind of unfortunate. I am someone that would rather see a gameplay trailer than a cinematic trailer. I'm not opposed to seeing a cinematic trailer. I want to see the gameplay. Cinematics are cool, but if the game looks awful and it plays terribly, I don't care what the cinematic looks like. There were rumors of the game possibly being a games as a service similar to Destiny, or the upcoming Avengers game, but there are no indications of that being true yet. Instead, Rocksteady promises to be a third-person cooperative shooter. I'm always worried about the business model when it comes to games. I'm always worried that games are going to be games as a service. There's going to be a subscription fee. Something is microtransactions. Something is going to take away from the gameplay. I really hope that that doesn't happen in these games and in any game. But there's that worry still. It says, sign me up on day. Oh, I accidentally passed a part. My bad, everyone. Lots of comparisons have been made to Sunset Overdrive, the Xbox One launch console exclusive that flew under the radar for too many folks. Insomniac Games made it before becoming a Sony studio and before its PlayStation 4 hit Spider-Man. In Sunset Overdrive, you're essentially to create your own superhero with lots of zany guns, grinding across power lines in the city like a cross between Deadpool and Tony Hawk. I love that. A cross between Deadpool and Tony Hawk. Sign me the hell up. Even the article says that, sign me up on day one if that's the case. We think a little bit alike. And it might be. Each of the 4 protagonists have immense potential to operate as different classes. Deadshot could be your classic sniper, while Harley is an all-around foot soldier. King Shark could wield heavy weapons as a tank class, while Boomerang has the potential to the most unique of them all, since his weapon is right in his name. There is some fatigue among DC fans seeing Superman being portrayed once again as the villain. The concept was already mined thoroughly in the Injustice fighting game series, and the Zack Snyder movie insists on painting the purest superhero into some sort of mortally ambiguous demigod. It's a cruel tease for superhero fans who have been waiting for a decent Superman game for decades. And this game is scheduled for a 2022 release, so we've got a long way to go. I have more faith in the Gotham Knights game, to be honest. I think that I do, just because we really haven't seen anything about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Sounds like a cliche name, sounds like the type of name I'm like, I don't want to see a game like this, but I don't want to preemptively judge it. I really want to see the gameplay, and I hope that the gameplay, when it eventually comes out, is pretty good. This game is still at least 2 years away, if they even make that date. But Gotham Knights had a little bit of gameplay. It looked pretty interesting. Why is there audio on this damn ad? Why does there always have to be ads? Come on now, just show me the damn trailer. But I think that the Gotham Knights game intrigues me a little bit more, but it might also just be because we actually saw some of the gameplay. Graphically, it looks pretty good. So yeah, that's all that I really had to discuss with those games. I'm curious for those of you in chat, what are you more excited for? Are you excited for Gotham Knights? Are you excited for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League? Or are you not excited about either of them? Let me know in the live stream chat, or if you're rewatching the playback, let me know in the comment section down below. I think that the Gotham Knights trailer looks pretty badass, honestly. Obviously cinematics, but we saw a little bit of gameplay, and it actually looks pretty good. It really does. We will move on to the next topic in just a moment. I'm honestly confused why they didn't make a Wonder Woman video game. They have the DMC / God of War game style that just screams for Wonder Woman. I agree, Rez. Okay, I completely agree with that. I was hoping for a Wonder Woman game. If they made a game that was similar to God of War, but it had just Wonder Woman characters, I would be sold, and I honestly, truly think that that game would sell well. I think Wonder Woman is a very hot character, not just because she's a hot woman. I think that the character has a lot of attention on her right now, and I think most of it is positive. And I think that people would definitely be down for a Wonder Woman video game. Come on now, why don't we have a female protagonist? What, do you hate women or something? Where's my female representation? Where is it? I want it right now. In all seriousness, though, I do think that a Wonder Woman game would have been cool. Maybe in the future we'll get a Wonder Woman game. That would be good for me. I'm not going to be greedy, but I want one. To be honest, I really want one. Gotham Knights already has my vote. Gotham Knights. I'm seeing a lot of Gotham Knights and not a lot of Suicide Squad. I feel like I'm just not someone that loves the Suicide Squad characters. Some of them I really like, but a lot of them I unfortunately dislike. But I will definitely play both. I'm definitely interested in seeing both of them and how they will turn out. Hopefully, no microtransactions, no games of service, no bad monetization, and it just goes smoothly. Yeah, a Suicide Squad game, but no Wonder Woman game seems a little bit unfair, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and the gear potential, as Red said in chat, like a sword, lasso, shield, bracers, tiara, it could be so cool. Like if you had to go through the game and you actually had to like defeat bosses to get her equipment, and like you started super underpowered for some reason, and you had to like defeat these bosses, but they like had all your equipment or something. I know that sounds like a pretty like, almost kind of lame idea, but I think that it could work. I don't know. We're not getting it though, unfortunately. My disappointment is high and my day has been ruined, but it sounds okay. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of worn out with Superman at this point. I like Henry Cavill as Superman, but I kind of want to take a step back from Superman. I almost feel the same way for Batman, but I don't. Almost. But I think Batman still has a lot of potential. I just don't want to constantly see them coming out with all these different characters. Like right now we have 2 different versions of Batman. We don't even know what other characters we're going to have multiple versions of, so who knows. I think The Flash could be a really cool game as well. I think a Flash video game, kind of like the Spider-Man one. I mean, obviously, they're very different, but a super cinematic Flash game, that could be interesting. Oh, you have the video game census tickling. All right, we have to move on to the next topic, which is going to be about Microsoft. Now, over the past month now, I have been covering the Epic Games versus Apple situation, and there is yet another new update because Microsoft is backing Epic Games, saying that Apple is threatening game development, and I honestly could not agree more with Microsoft. This was actually a slightly surprising move. I wasn't expecting a company like Microsoft to step up and put themselves into this situation, but after it happened, I was like, all right, this seems very normal, I guess. It wasn't very shocking, I should say. So, let me make this article a little bit bigger, because it's tiny. Well, that's the best I can do. It's close enough. Microsoft has inserted itself into the ongoing legal dispute between Apple and Epic Games, and the Xbox company is lining up behind the Unreal Engine. Of course they are. Unreal, which is Epic's creation, is a set of software tools, often referred to as an engine, that developers use to build video games. Epic confirmed on Monday that Apple will cut the company off from iOS and macOS development tools on August 28th. They've only got 3 days left. That spurred a response from Microsoft, denying Epic access to Apple's SDK and other development tools will prevent Epic from supporting Unreal Engine on iOS and macOS, and will place Unreal Engine and those game creators that have built, are building, and may build games on it in a substantial disadvantage. The statement from Microsoft executive reads, "Because iOS is a large and growing market for games, Apple's discontinuation of Unreal Engine's ability to support iOS will be a material disadvantage for the Unreal Engine in the future decisions by Microsoft and other game creators as to the choice of an engine or for new games," he added in subsequent section. This is a tweet from Phil Spencer. It says, "Today we filed a statement in support of Epic's request to keep access to the Apple SDK for its Unreal Engine. Ensuring that Epic has access to the latest Apple technology is the right thing for gamer developers and gamers." Gamer developers? Game developers, do you mean, Phil Spencer? Twitter. Yeah, it says, "For anyone who doesn't know, Phil Spencer is the boss of all things Xbox at Microsoft." So, the Mashable article continues, "With Microsoft's move puts the company in the middle of a legal dispute that has spiraled out of control. Remember, this all started on August 13th when Apple and Google, in twin moves, removed Epic's hit game Fortnite from their respective official app stores. A bigger problem for Apple users since Android doesn't lock people into using just the Play Store. The removals followed Epic's introduction of a new way for players to purchase Fortnite's in-game currency, V-Bucks, at a reduced price. This new buying option allowed players to bypass in-app purchases and in turn depriving Apple and Google of the 30% cut they take from their respective App Store sales. Apple and Google both said Fortnite's removal from their app stores happened because Epic violated store policies. Basically, Epic got just a little bit greedy. Epic, meanwhile, is tired of cutting Apple and Google in on micro purchases for its wildly successful game. Well, of course they are. Even if they cut them out, they'd be making so much money. I mean, even when they get the 30%, they're still making so much money, but they're greedy. They're a big company. They want even more damn money. The discounted V-Bucks option is just as much about pushing the platform gatekeepers to respond as it is about giving fans more incentive to spend money while inside Fortnite. The heart of the dispute isn't really about the people who play games, despite efforts to make players a part of the process, but step past the discount V-Bucks as protest action and weird radicalizing of Fortnite's fans on Epic's part, and this is a money dispute between multi-billion-dollar companies. Of course it is. The whole thing became significantly more complicated, however, the moment Apple escalated its response by cutting Epic off from iOS and macOS development tools. Putting Fortnite aside, Epic's Unreal Engine is an industry standard. It's one of the most widely used creation tools in game development, spanning PC, console, and mobile game creation. Now, there's no denying that this all started because of Tim Sweeney's shenanigans, where he tries to make it seem like he's doing great and amazing things for the industry, but really when it comes down to it, I mean, it's about the investors in Epic and them making money. But Apple took this beyond the fight with Epic, as this says. It should be just about Fortnite, in my opinion, and Epic using Fortnite to circumvent the revenue share terms of service. But this shows how traditionally anti-competitive Apple is, and how they care about money. That's all that they care about, and how they always have been. They've always been this way because they don't care about anyone else or even consumers for the most part, let's be honest. They've taken this to a level where now they're including what could be hundreds of developers who have used Unreal Engine and Epic's assets to build applications and games. This is not just a small Epic versus Apple fight anymore. Microsoft is right when they're saying this will affect the industry 100% and not just a single company. Microsoft is actually trying to stand up for not just themselves, but other developers. Self-motivated or not, they're still correct here. This is way too far by Apple. For all I care, Apple can ban Fortnite to hell and back. I really don't care about Fortnite, to be honest, but this is wrong of them to do, and I do think that Microsoft is correct here. Obviously, this situation is still developing. I'm sure that there will be more news on this in the future, but I definitely will be covering it more, obviously. I mean, it just shows how greedy these companies really are. And at the end of the day, yes, they are a company. We have to realize that they're not always here for the consumers and here to make things better, but I do think that Microsoft is 100% correct when they're saying this is threatening game development, because it is. It's not just about one company anymore. It's about hundreds of developers. We don't even know how many. But that's all that I had to discuss with that. Hopefully in the future, when there are more updates, I will be able to discuss them for you all. Well, not hopefully, I will be able to. But I don't know how this is going to go. I mean, there's still technically 3 more days because they had said Apple will cut the company off from iOS and macOS development tools on August 28th. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. But we will move on to the final topic of the night in just a moment, which is going to be Leafy. Been saving that one for last. Leafy in YouTube. Epic violated Apple and Google's TOS. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not defending them for doing that. They definitely did circumvent the TOSs. Definitely. John says Microsoft for life. Until they ban you, right, John? I mean, everyone's for a company until they get banned, or until the company does something bad to them. I hope you never get banned. from anything Microsoft. Loot boxes for life, just one more. I haven't opened a loot box in a game in a very, very, very long time. I mean, I've opened free ones on, like, Apex Legends, but they're free for just playing the game. I have not paid for a loot box in a game in a while. Maybe 3 years? Maybe 3 years? Maybe 2? I only have a couple of games that I actually spend money on, besides the initial purchase. I purchase a lot of games when they first release. That is for sure. I'm a big spender when it comes to new games. Well, obviously, you all know that because I buy so many new games to stream and make content when it comes to the channel. So, we are going to start the discussion for the last discussion for the night. So this is a new update in the Leafy case. I've talked about the situation with Leafy once in a previous video. Make sure to go to the channel and check that out if you have not already for my initial thoughts on the situation. But basically YouTube had banned Leafy without any contact. Apparently he had no strikes on his channel. He had no emails from them saying he violated any terms of service or user guidelines. And suddenly he was banned from the platform. And now we are hearing that his YouTube ban is permanent. There is no way for him to dispute it, and this is just unfortunately the way that it is. So this is a The Verge article. YouTube permanently bans controversial creator Leafy is here. YouTube has banned the controversial creator Calvin Lee Vale, better known as Leafy is here, for repeatedly violating the company's harassment policies. The ban follows big changes to YouTube's harassment policy meant to deter behavior that in part helped creators in the commentary community like Leafy develop a following. So Leafy's content, talking about other creators and other, Twitch streamers, YouTubers, whoever it may be, was content that really helped get YouTube big. And now YouTube is saying, we don't like that content anymore. Which obviously is a change of pace, but this isn't brand new. Over the past 2 years, they've really been trying to curb this content, and back in December of 2019, they did, as it says, update their harassment policies because they're trying to make it advertiser friendly. They're basically taking the U out of YouTube, and a lot of people have said that and agree with that. Although he has a history of making videos that include offensive comments about other creators on the site, including a now deleted video from 2016 that mocked the appearance of other creators, the termination only came after his channel amassed at least 3 violations of YouTube's harassment policy over the last 90 days. That includes videos featuring cyberbullying, including malicious insults and name-calling based on someone's appearance, gender, or orientation, and encouraging viewers to disrupt other creators' streams. He told YouTube Keemstar that he didn't receive any emails about specific videos prior to the ban. So yes, Leafy is saying that he did not receive any information about his ban. He didn't receive any emails. He didn't have any strikes on his channel, but this actually was a tweet that was put out today. So this was Leafy's initial tweet, which was 2 days ago at this point. He said, still no word from @TeamYouTube or YouTube creators on suspension. If they want to keep me banned, fine. We'll miss having that outlet, but mainly been doing this for fun since coming back. Some videos were more crude than others, but personally don't think I was that bad. Fun website is fun. YouTube actually responded with confirming your channel was suspended following repeated violations of our harassment policies. Note, we updated our harassment policy back in December 2019. We sent an email Friday at the time of suspension. We'll DM you with more info. And Keemstar had actually tweeted out this screenshot and said, okay, but why did you @TeamYouTube give him 3 strikes at once? The whole point of the 3-strike system is to warn the creator that they need to change their behavior. You gave Leafy 3 strikes at once? ? Leafy said initially that he hadn't had any word from YouTube, his channel didn't have any strikes on it, he didn't receive an email, and YouTube is saying that's not true. YouTube is saying that he did receive 3 strikes on his channel. community strikes, and I do agree with Keemstar here. The whole point of this 3-strike system is to warn the creator that they need to change their behavior. Keemstar is saying that he got all 3 strikes at once, which YouTube is saying he amassed them over 90 days. So we don't really know a lot of information when it comes to that. Leafy hasn't shown any proof to show he got all the strikes at once, because usually when you get strikes, they go to your email and you would get those emails. So like if he could show the timestamps of getting emails like 3 in a row, that would probably help us all understand a little bit more. But that's what Keemstar and Leafy are saying. But this article says that a YouTube spokesperson told The Verge, "We have strict policies that prohibit harassment on YouTube, and we remove content that violates our policies when flagged to our attention. Channels that repeatedly violate our policies will be terminated." The spokesperson confirmed that his ban is permanent, so Leafy cannot be on the platform anymore. He cannot fight this at all. He is perma-banned. The article continues, though, with YouTube has started instituting new measures to try and prevent creator-on-creator harassment over the last year. The company came under fire after former Vox host Carlos Maza tweeted out multiple instances where conservative Steven Crowder used homophobic and other derogatory language to talk about him. YouTube didn't respond to the situation right away, but after the backlash continued, the company temporarily removed Crowder from its partner program, which actually was suspended for a year. I recently talked about that as well. Leafy, who had close to 5 million subscribers at the time of his ban, found himself at the center of a few high-profile disputes over the last few months with H3H3, Pokimane, and he tweeted back in June that he received 2 channel strikes today for harassment on new videos, noting that he was setting all of his videos to private to hopefully avoid a 3rd strike. We don't know if those strikes had came off, if he had fought those at all, if they were still on his account. He was saying that he had no strikes on his account, though, when this initially happened a couple of days ago. YouTube's community guidelines state that 3 content strikes will lead to a channel's termination. YouTube did not comment on which videos led to his ban. Notably, his ban arrived after he started the ongoing video series about Pokimane, in which he lobbied personal insults at her and her fans, leading to criticism from several high-profile Twitch streamers and YouTube creators. Videos that contained prolonged insults and may encourage viewers to disrupt another person's stream violate the company's guidelines. Basically, the company can do whatever they want whenever they want. YouTube could take me down right now for whatever they wanted. And that's the unfortunate thing about a lot of large social media companies, is they always have a way to get rid of you if they don't want you on their platforms. The policy has to be written in such a way that creators can comment on each other and criticize each other, Susan said in a 2019 interview while talking about the new policy. The question is, where do you draw the line? Where do they cross the line? When it's no longer just ideas, but they're criticizing them as a person. You should be allowed to criticize people. Streamers and YouTubers, we're all public figures. Public figures are allowed to be criticized. It's not that hard to understand. I should be able to say, hey, this person sucks, or I don't like this person, or this person's content is really shitty. That should be allowed. You should be able to criticize someone's audience and be like, aha, they're all simps. Like, that's not offensive. A huge problem here is that they didn't tell him which videos violated policies, as the article says, and what exactly he said that triggered his ban. And that's frustrating as a creator, because there's no information on why this massive creator was permanently banned from the platform. It's extremely unprofessional of YouTube to not make some sort of statement besides, he violated our terms of service. What the fuck does that mean? You seriously can't give us any more information? You didn't tell him even what videos got him permabanned? So many people have done so many shitty things, yet they're still on the platform. Can we look at one of the Paul brothers for a minute? He literally showed a dead body. A video that had millions of views before it taken down. It went trending. He literally showed a dead body on the platform, yet he got a slap on the wrist for it. How is that not as bad as saying some mean words to people? I definitely think that there's a difference between those two things. And I know that you know, Logan Paul apologized. I'm not saying that he didn't, but how is saying mean words to someone worse than showing something like that on your platform? You would think that that would be a permanent ban, but it's probably because they make YouTube more money. We need to know what the line is and how you cross it, what you're allowed to say on the platform and what you're not allowed to say. If they're going to have a terms of service and enforce it, it needs to be clear. And as a creator, their terms of service is definitely not clear. They can get rid of you for whatever reason they want. They can keep you if they want to and always back you up and always defend you. But at the end of this topic, that is the big update on Leafy. He is currently permanently banned from YouTube. I'm wondering what else is going to happen because he has been talking to Keemstar quite a bit. Leafy actually started streaming on Twitch today, which I think it was more of a test, but he actually had Keemstar come on to his live stream, and Keemstar is actually banned from Twitch. So you're not allowed to have people that are banned on the platform on the platform. This actually happened with Dr. Disrespect. A lot of the streamers like Tim the Tapman that streamed with Dr. Disrespect were asking Twitch, can I stream with Dr. Disrespect and have him on my live stream? And they said no, that can result as a ban and a suspension for you. So of course, because Leafy had Keemstar on his live stream, even though it was only a voice chat for a couple of minutes, that right there is a reason for them to ban him. That is a reason right there. Now that's a really shitty reason to ban him, but I don't think that Twitch is going to want him on the platform. And there are plenty of other platforms that he can go to. He's got a huge social media following. I mean, he's not just going to end his career with a YouTube ban. He's going to be fine when it comes to his audience, but I mean, I'm sure a platform like Twitch isn't going to let him off easy. They're definitely going to enforce the ban hammer as much as they can. But that's all that we had to discuss during this live stream. I talked about Leafy's permanent ban, Microsoft backing Epic, saying Apple is threatening game development, the DC FanDome games, and the DC FanDome announcements. I am going to go to the Q&A portion of the live stream. If you all have any questions or comments you would like to make, please feel free to put them into chat now. I just really quickly want to say, if you enjoy the content I create and want to become a supporter of the channel and want to help support the content that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month. We have some amazing logos created by someone I really do appreciate, one of my moderators. And we also are going to be sending out some Dark Titan postcards. The announcement is on the Patreon in case you want to see it. But anyone above a $5 tier will be getting them. There are a couple of caveats though, so please make sure to go and check that out if you are interested. I will link the Patreon in chat, but we have tiers of all different kinds, $1, $5, $10. It all really does help support the channel. All right, let me check chat and catch up with all of you. Can Leafy make another YouTube account? He cannot. If he makes another YouTube channel, he will be permanently banned. He is permanently banned from the platform. So there's not really any ways that he can get around that at this point. Unfortunately, I do not think that he has any chance at returning to YouTube at this point in time, at least. Who knows, though? I mean, maybe that could I don't know. I was going to say maybe that could change in the future, but it's definitely not going to change in the future. That would be way too optimistic, I do think, unfortunately. I think it's extremely unprofessional of YouTube to just ban someone without any reasoning. Like, you would think that they would make some sort of public statement. I mean, it's even like Dr. Disrespect and Twitch. They got rid of one of their largest talents, and they made no announcements at all. You would think that there would be some sort of, like, announcement, PR speak, something or another, and there was nothing. But YouTube has changed over the past couple of years, and unfortunately, a lot of us expected content like Leafy's content, a lot of commentary, criticism content to be booted off the platform. It's not extremely surprising, just seeing the way that YouTube has gone over the past couple of years. I'm streaming on YouTube right now. I still use YouTube. I still think that YouTube is a good platform, but I think that they seriously need to get their shit together. They need to tell creators exactly what you can do, exactly what you can't do, and then creators can leave the platform if they don't want to follow those rules. But when you're saying, well, you can kind of criticize people, but at the same time you kind of can't, that doesn't make any sense for a creator. It is extremely confusing and frustrating too, to not know what you can and can't do. It's frustrating as hell, to be honest. He can go to BitChute. He can also go to something like Storyfire. I know that Storyfire, he is on Storyfire. He has an account there now. He said that he's planning to upload a lot of his content to Twitter, like to do like 2 to 3 minute kind of Twitter videos, and also possibly upload on something like BitChute or Storyfire. But who knows? I mean, he has many revenues that he could go. It is unfortunate that your main platform you were removed from. I don't think that he's going to last on Twitch at all. I think that Twitch is going to find the first reason they can to ban him, but maybe Twitch won't. Probably, though. Unfortunately, I want to give these platforms the benefit of the doubt, but there's honestly no reason to at this point. Thoughts on the Powerpuff Girls live-action reboot on CW? Absolutely dumb. Absolutely big dumb. I can't believe that they're doing that. I'm getting honestly sick of these reboots. There's reboots of literally everything now, and reboots we don't need. Who wants a Powerpuff Girls live-action reboot? I'm looking for someone. No one. That's the point. Whoever asked for a live-action Powerpuff Girls series should be investigated. I agree, Rez, 1000%. I think someone needs to take the glasses off and really give a good look at them. Why? Can I just ask, why do we need that? There are so many better series that you could make, and that's the one that you choose? That one. Out of them all. That's the one. Come on. Come on. But yeah, he can go to other platforms like BitChute and Storyfire. I know that Storyfire, he already has an account there, like I had mentioned, so it sounds like he's planning on moving platforms, something like that, which is, I mean, that's good for him. I think that it's better than just completely giving up, which unfortunately is what a lot of people were expecting, because he's had a rough relationship with content creation. He's, left and stopped for a while and then came back and then taken breaks, so a lot of people figured that would kind of be the end for Leafy's content, but I don't think so. I think that this definitely gives him a boost in kind of confidence to see all of his fans come together and support him. Vera loves the new Battletoads game. She was bragging about it in Discord. I so dislike the art style. I'm sorry. I dislike it. And what they did to my girl, how they massacred my poor girl, I think gameplay-wise it's okay. But graphics are definitely not it for me. Battletoads is hard AF. The original, yeah, Battletoads, yeah, they just came out with Battletoads 2020, I think it's called. It was released on Xbox Game Pass. It's interesting. YouTube takes so many liberties because they don't have to worry about competition. Creators need YouTube more than YouTube needs them. I think that larger YouTube creators, and just YouTube creators in general, should be on multiple platforms. I think that if YouTube creators started going onto other platforms, like let's say creators had a Storyfire in a YouTube or BitChute in YouTube, whatever the other platform may be in YouTube, YouTube wouldn't feel so cocky. I think that that's a big problem, is that YouTube is one of a kind, let's say. No other platform video-wise has been as big as YouTube. So they feel like they can do whatever they want, like they have no competition. They need to feel like they have competition, and then maybe they would be clearer and more concise with their guidelines and their rules, and they wouldn't kind of take their creators for advantage. It's hard because we're talking about billion-dollar huge companies here. It's not like they're ever going to listen to what me or you say, though I think that they really, really need to start realizing how pissed off they're making creators and how these bans don't help them at all. The Dark Queen is the Dark Nun. 100% Grim. The Dark Queen is now the Dark Nun. It is a shame what they did to her. Oh, how they massacred my poor girl. But alright, you guys, I'm going to end the live stream here. Thank you all so much for stopping by. I do very much so appreciate it. If you are not already part of our Discord, please make sure to join it. We are very active there. I do chat in the supporter chat quite often. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, I will be streaming Amazon's new MMO called New World. Wow, that sounded odd. Amazon's new MMO called New World. Lots of new. Anyway, I will be streaming that. I'll be doing a couple of hours of gameplay. I'm extremely excited to try it out, see what it has to offer. Again, if you're not already part of the Discord, please make sure to join it. If you want to support the channel and become a Dark Titan and a supporter, consider becoming one via Patreon for just $1 a month. It does really help support the channel. And if you are not already, follow me on other forms of social media like Twitter. I post my videos there, and I also let you guys know in Discord when I am posting content, because unfortunately YouTube has been having a very big problem with pushing my content lately. Maybe I've pissed them off, or maybe they're just sucking lately, but a lot of people have not been seeing my content, so please make sure to hit the notification bell, join the Discord, follow me on social media. But thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a fantastic night, everyone.